The first one is guest communication. People will appreciate when you give them extra information, helpful tips, but it has to be served to the guest at the right time. If you are giving additional information too early or too late, they are not going to appreciate it, and it is going to cause inconvenience to the guest. For example, it is a good idea to send them a check-in instructions only a few days before their arrival. If the guest books 6 months in advance, you should not send them check-in instructions 6 months in advance. A few days before that is perfect. If you send it too early, they might miss it, they may forget about it. And if you send it too late, it makes them nervous because their trip is approaching and they don't know where to go and how to do things in that area. So you have to find a perfect balance of when to send the check-in instructions, for example. My advice would be to try and send the check-in instructions 7 to 5 days in advance. It is the right optimum time to send those details to the guest. Also, it is very important to confirm their reservation. So as soon as the guest confirms, try and send them a message confirming their reservation, confirming their start of the trip, the nights they have booked, and number of guests on their reservation. And it is important to send that information once the booking is confirmed, because sometimes people do make mistakes. They do put wrong dates or wrong number of guests in the booking. So as soon as you confirm, they will be able to reconfirm the count and the dates and let you know if they have missed something during the time of the booking. After that, try and send them a check-in instruction 7 days before their arrival. I usually send them another follow-up message a day before their arrival, reminding them of the address of the property, sharing my contact number, and a link to the directions to the property, in case they missed my previous message. Once they are checked in, the first morning, I send them a message around 9 o'clock in the morning, asking them if everything is okay, and just to let them know that I'm around. I share my phone number and they can reach out to me. After that, no matter how long the stay is, I let the guest enjoy, and I have shared my phone number with them anyway, and they can reach out to me. So there is a very fine line where you have to find a balance of not being over communicative, at the same time trying to not be under communicating with the guest. And the last message I send the guest is a day before they're due to depart, around 7 o'clock the previous evening, reminding them that the checkout time is 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is what they can do with the keys when they're leaving, and I would appreciate any feedback they have. And I try and prompt them to give any feedback in that message, because that just gives them another opportunity to share the feedback with me there and then, rather than leaving it in a review, which people are more likely to do if they've had a negative experience. So just to remind you, the purpose of your communication strategy should be to provide all the necessary information a guest needs to stay at your Airbnb. And the check-in instructions, try to be as elaborate as you can be. People will appreciate the extra details you give them. Try and give them detailed travel directions to your property. For example, anyone coming to my properties, I try and give them travel directions from different modes of transport, such as airport, train station, bus stop, and if they are driving, I send them a Google Map link. But try and give them step-by-step instructions. For example, anyone coming to my property from the airport, I would tell them, when you're at the airport, try and get a black cab. Do not take an Uber cab, because black cab drivers know Edinburgh very well. And when you're in the taxi, tell them you want to go to Old Fisher Market Close on Cowgate. And when the taxi starts slowing down, look on your right, you will see Wings Restaurant. And the second door to the Wings Restaurant is the apartment you are going to. And at that point, I send them a picture highlighting the Wings Restaurant, highlighting my flat door, highlighting where the lockbox is, and I write the code they have to enter on the photo. This makes it crystal clear to the guest. I don't remember the last time someone had to phone me to get access to the property. They know exactly where they need to go and what they need to do to access the property. Try and give them detailed travel directions on how to access the property. The most important step of hosting process is the check-in. If the guest was able to pick up the keys and get into the property without waiting or stumbling anywhere, they will appreciate it. Otherwise, if the guest had to wait anywhere to collect the keys or get into the property or find the property, they will not forgive you. And it is your responsibility to give them clear instructions. If the taxi driver took them on a 15-minute detour to your property, you will be partly held responsible for, and it will reflect in the reviews because you are responsible for providing them the exact travel directions, including what instructions they have to give to the taxi driver or any other mode of transport they have to take to get to your property. Along with the travel directions, include any kind of house rules you have for your property. In the check-in instructions, along with the travel directions, include any house rules you may have. Airbnb lets you define your own house rules. Things like if you do not want people to wear shoes in your house, or if you want them to switch off the lights when they're leaving. Try and mention all your house rules once again in the check-in instructions. Airbnb makes sure people do read your house rules when they're confirming their reservation, but sometimes people book it so far in advance that by the time they arrive at the property, they forgot all about it. So it is a good idea to remind them about the house rules a few days before they are about to arrive, so the guest is careful, and it saves you from a lot of hassle later on. Also include important things like whether the water is drinkable from the tap. Try and highlight where the heating controls are or the cooling or AC controls are if that's important to your area. All these things will help you reduce guest queries. At the same time, they will increase the guest satisfaction, which will eventually reflect in great reviews from them. Try and make the guest feel that you're around. It is very important. The guest will sometimes reach out to you during the stay, and at that time, try and respond to their queries as soon as possible. That will make them feel that you're around when they need it. And when they have problems or if they have certain queries, it is more important to respond to them faster than actually fixing the problem. They just want you around because it is your property and they are just a guest in that property. In terms of getting back to the guest, it's okay to take some time in getting back to them if they are still a few days away from starting their stay. But once they are in the transit, once they are on their way to your property or they are staying in the property, it is very important to get back to them as soon as you receive their message. And it's okay sometimes if you're stuck somewhere, try and acknowledge their message and tell them, look, I'm busy, I'll get back to you very, very soon, as long as it is not urgent. But getting back to the guest when they are staying in the property or they are arriving is very important. If you can't respond, acknowledge and tell them you will get back to them. All these things will make them you are around, you are attentive, and you are helpful during the stay, and it will increase their satisfaction from the property, which will eventually lead into glowing 5-star reviews.